Yeah, okay. I know we want to talk about that, so excited to kind of dig
Faux
into it.
show. All right. I'm totally fine. Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon TVL Show, the weekly podcast from Beacon DeFi, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I'm your host, Professor Chris, your DeFi professor. Got a great show lined up for you this week. We tackle the news of the week that's relevant to you, our dear users in the world of crypto and on-chain investing. Today on the show, we've got a regular rotator back with us today, and Ken, developer relations at Taushi, BitTensor subnet number 8, the proprietary trading network of BitTensor. Welcome back, sir. How was your holiday, man?
Man, I always compare, which comparison is a thief of joy. But I've been comparing this latest trip to Africa against all my others. I mean, you can see all my travel stuff, and I would have to say this ranks up there as one of the best trips we've taken, me and my wife. So it was first off in Kenya and then to South Africa, and both places different, but equally as impressive, I will say. So 10 out of 10 vacation.
Would recommend, eh?
Would totally recommend. I mean, Kenya was an experience. It wasn't necessarily a vacation. You can see I got sunburned. We were very close to the equator, which I did not know. I should have. So I didn't pack any. And us light skinners, we might not put on.
I wasn't gonna go there.
We might not put on sunscreen, but we should. We should.
You should. You should absolutely put on sunscreen. So Kenya and South Africa. What part of South Africa? Did you go to Cape Town? Did you go to Johannesburg? Where'd you go?
Yeah. So we left Nairobi. Well, first we landed in Nairobi, drove 8 hours into the Kenyan bush, and stayed, kind of off site for about a week, and then we flew into Cape Town, which was, it takes 6 hours to get out from North Carolina to LA, and it took us 6 hours to go from Nairobi to Cape Town, which Kenya's not even. So you can see how big Africa is.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. So good trip. Great trip.
Yeah, man. So happy to have you back. So happy you had the trip of a lifetime. Unbelievable memories. I'm sure. I can't wait to go out there myself with my family to see what that looks like. There's a lot of things to talk about, man. But, with you on the show, I got to talk about the big news of the day. I mean, people are talking about tariffs. People are talking about all kinds of stuff, but you're here, Ken, so we're going to talk about something interesting.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo Switch 2 was announced today.
I love it. That's awesome.
And man, they've redone it from the ground up. The worst part about this is capitalism at its peak. There's always been rumors of Nintendo having a layer 1 subnet on Avalanche. Whether or not it actually happens, to where we think it's going to happen, like where there's actual on-chain gaming using AVAX as a backend, I'm not sure. I do know that, well, NFTs with IP property is probably a big thing they'll probably do in the future. But
100%.
I think it's all I can really. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Coming out.
I haven't actually heard. I haven't heard too much about the.
Oh, Nintendo, look at that! You can use it. You can use the Joy-Cons on the thing, like with gyroscopes. Oh, that's
He put it on the table.
He put it on the table. That is nice.
Oh, see, look at that.
This is the accessibility we've been looking for, bros.
Wow. Because I haven't seen any of this. I knew that there was a launch. I saw it on The Verge earlier today. That's like the website I go to every morning.
Yeah.
It's funny that we mentioned this because I did get my retro gaming device since I got back to Africa.
Upstairs.
So. Oh, come on. You got the black one? I copied you.
I did not. It is right here. And I actually have headphones plugged into it, but this is the retro. Look at that twinning, man. I love it. Everyone's watching. They're like, what on earth are you guys talking about today? But at our core, at least for Ken and myself, not only are we code bros, we're also gaming bros, and we love games. I love GameFi. Actually, I want to give a shout out to not only Van Ho and Luana on Avalanche. I just wanted to give a shout out to Off the Grid for pretty much launching everything they need to, and also to Guns also for getting that Binance listing. GameFi is, I think, has been something that I've always said that every year it's going to be an intersection of NFT, GameFi, and some other utility, and hopefully that works out. I hear Off the Grid works natively with Mac silicon, Apple silicon. If you have Apple silicon like M1, M2, M3, M4, it works natively with Off the Grid. Off the Grid's a really fun experience. It's battle royale style, great graphics. Everything's done on AVAX on the back end. We're looking to do a GameFi episode, guys. Multiple GameFi episodes in the future. Ken, I'll make sure you're on panel for that. But there's a lot of things developing right now. GDC, Gamer Developer Conference in San Francisco, was a couple weeks ago. And there's a lot of Web3 and DeFi based, not DeFi, but Web3 based gaming ideas coming out. So excited to see, what happens now that we're seeing some of this stuff come out. With Epic Games, I just saw something about Gumi. That's a mobile developer for under the Sony ecosystem. They're doing something interesting as well. But anyway, theirs is actually DeFi related. So anyway,
neat, super cool. Yeah,
we probably,
we could probably have a whole conversation about gaming and the convergence of gaming and cryptocurrency, blockchain, that panel that you're talking about, I would love to join because I got some thoughts on that as well as a gamer myself.
Same. And I've been in multiple activations. They didn't really have one that I wanted to get into at ETH Denver, unfortunately. A lot of the usual suspects, we'll call them. Permissionless is great though. I play a little bit of Illuvium, played a little bit of a couple other games. I still have some stuff to give away. So if anybody wants some of that, I'm sure it'll be good to go later. But the comments is what got me. Also, these games are going to be $80 and $90. I was like, guys,
wow,
really? Wow. You got full on-chain and online gaming. You're charging me $90 for a game. What kind of tariffs are these? Anyway, speaking of tariffs, let's look at the market. Reclaiming some new highs. This is buy the rumor, sell the news stuff, guys. The tariffs, just for anybody who's curious, today was meant to be what they're calling Liberation Day from the administration. I'll have a link to Arthur Hayes's article in the notes. It's not really the right thing to show on screen here, unfortunately. But we're going to see an interesting barrage of reciprocal tariffs coming out today. 4 p.m. Eastern is the actual release of them at the Rose Garden today. So maybe we're having a little bit of upward action in anticipation of that moving forward. My personal opinion, ultimately, all of this is just a smoke show because they're trying to divert your attention from other things that are going on in the background that I think are going to be very interesting. I think we're all waiting with bated breath to see if the market prices any of this in, but we're seeing at least on the 1 hour here. And if we look at bubbles, at least on today, we're seeing some projects still in green. I have no idea what that is.
Me either. White. I've never heard that before. White rock.
Why are you up 23%?
Do a quick Google search.
Why is this even listed? Clearly, this is the opposite of BlackRock.
BlackRock. That's awesome.
Congrats to anybody who farmed Walrus on Sui, though. That's been up on the week. Specifically, if we look at our week, our week move here, a lot of red, but I do think that this week will be interesting because now Q2 is when ultimately a lot of mainly BTC need they wake back up. Q2, there's a lot of stuff going on in Q2. We'll talk about a little bit about that today. But I do think today is going to be an interesting exercise into what could be on the horizon for how much control that President Trump is going to be looking for moving forward through controlling trade, through these tariffs, through his continued exploration into Article 2 for unitary executive power, various things, Doge, which will most likely kind of fizzle out, to be honest, because as a special government employee, I just saw this, I forgot about this. Elon Musk only gets 130 days in that status of the year, and he's gonna be leaving soon. So no idea where Doge goes from there, but with all of this power exploration, maybe it won't matter. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of to me, it's all just smoke show, right? Because there's bigger news that people aren't talking about. And before we hit that news, of course, actually, I take that back. Let's just go and do it. This is the biggest news from the weekend. The FDIC has clarified the process for banks to now run free and clear into crypto-related activities. Guys, you have no idea how big of a news this is from the FDIC, because this is a huge 180-degree flip-flop from where they were just a couple of years ago. Because with what we were talking about with Operation Choke Point and Operation Choke Point 2.0, which President Trump talked about last week as a real thing, and we talked about it on the show last week, this memo solidifies it. So ultimately, banks don't have to even talk to the FDIC, get approval or authorization to do any crypto-related activities.
That's awesome. That's huge.
It's huge, right? Yeah. It's absolutely huge. And this is actually just feeding some new things that I definitely want to talk about. Just real quick, Ken, do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, I'm still processing it 5 days later.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this isn't being talked about more, but if this is what I'm thinking it is, a lot of banks don't like having any involvement in crypto, kind of limit their users. I mean, mine has been pretty open. I've used it for a while, just interfacing crypto. I haven't got any notifications or anything about it. So just that ease of getting in and out of crypto with my bank has been kind of awesome. But I know other people have had hardships with that. So this could just help a lot of people just pour into crypto, get access to crypto. That's what I'm assuming this is. Granted, I haven't taken a look at this, but that's awesome. I mean, institutions are coming, the doors are opening, people are flocking, and this is what we want. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of comes out of this, but that's huge.
Yeah. So the biggest news outside of that, and it was also just talked about that day actually. And this is actually official now. This is what I had, sent to our mastermind back on Monday. But Circle, who is the custodian of USDC, second largest stablecoin in all of crypto, the first, of course, being Tether, with more than double the market cap of USDC at this point. But USDC has been gaining. We'll talk about that in just a second. Circle, who's their custodian, which is also partly owned by Coinbase. Circle is going to move forward with IPO plans. Off of this news, they've hired both JP Morgan and Citi as underwriters on this, pushing a valuation of $4 to $5 billion, which means there will be a Circle IPO to go into. Now, we haven't had a large-scale IPO like this, I want to say, in 4 years, since Coinbase, honestly. If you think back, was the last largest crypto-related IPO was Coinbase back in 2021. So, them bringing this forward, they understand, they know how to make this work. And, hiring JP Morgan and Citi, which JP Morgan, funny how things change, right? This is apparently a SPAC, a special project back in 2021, but it was blocked by the SEC. That's all gone now. So
I like that comment. $4 to $5 billion looks cheap. So yeah, cool. I mean, just the doors are opening to a lot of different things. The ease of getting in and out, the things that people are trying to create. This is a lot. Again, I'm just going to reiterate. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this, and this is what we've all been kind of waiting for such a long time. I mean, we've been in crypto for a while now, just to see these doors opening and these big players like really having a say in this stuff. It's awesome.
I mean, I was happy just to be able to pay with my USDC to go buy My Retroid Pocket 5.
Oh, you bought that in?
No, I didn't. But let's just say that I had. I mean, I have that option. I had that option.
Yeah,
there was an option to do it, but
wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy how much a couple years makes, right? So now the it's better. Obviously, this is all big. This is all great news. You can even throw in the fact that the USDC had a DPEG, 18 months ago. Not a bad thing at this point because it's battle tested the system. It's shown people they can come back from that, whatever the issue is. I mean, the difference between this and essentially a bank is that banks have fractional reserve. Stuff like this, fully reserved, and you can count every single dollar that's out there. Most of it's I think for USDC, it's the Bank of New York and Mellon, I believe, in the majority is, but they can have the ability to just move the reserves wherever. But this is, obviously bringing in more stable coins. We've called this the killer app of crypto on many of our trainings and many of our presentations. So this is huge. It's going to be Circle CRCL. That's what they've applied for. If they, assuming this should absolutely go through. This will be on the NYSE. I'm assuming this goes on NASDAQ, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 to 5 billion valuation. Honestly, I think it's really high, but they have a lot of things that they have to do. They have distribution that they have to pay for. Here's an interesting take for anybody who's curious about this. Why I'm actually really bullish on this move is this, not that. Well, yeah. Well, anyway, RWAs is one thing, but there's a specific take from Marcin, the co-founder of Redstone, a very prominent and growing Oracle business here in DeFi. Let me put this up here. This will also be in our notes for anybody who wants to check it out. And we talk about this on our Beacon Spotlight. We've talked about this on multiple calls. They have Year C at Circle. That's the other product that they have that most people don't really talk about. They're the only stable coin. I don't even know if USDC is approved. USDT is definitely not approved in Europe. In fact, MiCA has, for the most part, blacklisted them. But that's their framework in the EU. But Year C is MiCA compliant. So if you're looking for, specific types of revenue coming from Circle, you're going to get it from here absolutely 100%. So this is an interesting, I understand the reason why they made the Year C. Now, they can make any other stablecoin they want, to be frank, and they probably will. They may do one for the yen or Canadian dollar or whatever they want. South African dollar, I guess. That's not a dollar.
The rand.
The rand.
Thank you. Rand.
So, yeah, I mean, back to this map, something we've talked about, RWA is going to be huge this year. We have huge buyers coming in. Franklin Templeton just announced theirs recently. And yeah, for those who are wondering, who are all the big players in RWAs, look at these. We have a lot of big names here. And a lot of them are, interestingly, they're also all related in one way or another, through market making, through issuing, through different things. But BlackRock, of course, being at the center of a lot of this, will be a very interesting move. So yeah, I mean,
comment.
Go ahead.
Black Rock, White Rock, Redstone. I see a trend here. It's funny, but I mean, at some point we gotta stop saying crypto's coming. Crypto blockchain is here. It's, of course, there's still progress, and we're always going to be progress. But just the things that are happening this year alone, this year alone and last year has just been monumental in the whole grand scheme of things.
Yeah, completely agree. And it's going to be an interesting. I mean, I think it's already started with DeFi summer. There's been a lot of interest back into DeFi now that people asked for meme coins to die. Well, guess what? You got it for the most part. I mean, we have Pump.Fun graduations just declining. Yes, there are still plenty of plenty of meme coins out there. But I do think that now that we have this FDIC decision, all of those people that we just showed you and
Yeah.
add on major banks,
Yeah.
Wells, I mean, I'm not going to say their name out loud, Wells, the Red Group, Bank of America, Santander, BBVA, HSBC, major multinational banks. Guess what? They're coming to crypto. Why? Because Tether made $13 billion in profit last year. 13 billion. And Circle is being valued at roughly a third of that.
Wow. So DeFi summer. Yeah, meme coins. I think I was still in the trenches before I went on my trip to Africa.
It's a
And
bit sad.
yeah. So Africa was nice because I was able to kind of get away,
Love
but
it.
it's nice. Yeah. It's awesome that DeFi summer could be coming. DeFi. When was the last DeFi summer? 2021? Was that?
Yeah, 2020. You could
Was
make
that the one before?
2021 probably.
Yeah.
You could make there's small spurts, right?
Yeah.
Where things are pretty well.
So this go around, it's going to be interesting to see
Yeah,
what
because
DeFi. Yeah.
and I need to talk about this. I forgot about that. But before that, I just want to talk about really quick our group at Total Value Locked from Beacon. If you like what you're hearing, please please follow, please subscribe, tell your friends. I forgot to start the stream again at stream.tv. Let me do that real quick.
Good thing you're
All right.
operating and not me. I would.
I mean, sometimes producing the stuff can just be.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Oh man.
Got to make sure everything is running. This running, that running.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I've had to learn some tricks along the way. I've been doing this for a long time, so
Yeah. You're killing it.
I don't really worry about it. But yes, join our free group. We are just packing on members, guys. People joining us every single day, want to learn more about decentralized finance, blockchain investing, on-chain finance, things like that. Yes, you bought some crypto. You can do more with it. Even if you buy some of these new stable coins that are coming out. You want to know about who are the issuers that you want to be following. What are the great beta plays to BTC and ETH that are related to RWAs? You can certainly find that in our group. One thing I would recommend that you do if you come to our group at school.com/beacon is that you start off at our Start Here post. And the reason for that is you get a great message from myself and Andrew, our co-founder, and you get to find out more about the pathways that we have, especially if you just want to get started. We've got a great intro to DeFi course to just get started, get your feet wet, dabble. Coming out with some new things, guys. I definitely want to talk to you about that in the upcoming weeks. Got a great guest for Friday for our free Community Friday training. Still just need to nail that down, but it's a new partner of ours, and it's about crypto taxes. I think you'll be very pleased, and you'll learn more about that this weekend, or rather this Friday. And if you're an intermediate investor, you can check out our Beacon Accelerator if you want to be in the best, where we're getting all the great opportunities. You get to talk to our industry insiders and all that type of stuff. Join our Beacon Mastermind. So again, school.com/Beacon, absolutely free to join, guys. If you want to learn more about decentralized finance, more about this DeFi summer, meet people like Ken, shoulder to shoulder.
I would love to meet
With
everyone. Come, please.
Yes, please come.
Everyone.
School.com/Beacon. Of course, absolutely free. And thanks to our Beacon founding members and our Beacon Mastermind members and our Beacon Accelerators members, of course, for helping make this absolutely possible. Also want to say hello to our audio listeners. We are now producing the audio version of this, our podcast, that goes out live every Wednesday on our outlets. And you can find us everywhere. That's Apple Podcast, Amazon Music Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, places I've never heard of before. Tune in. I didn't realize we'd be on Tune In. That's really cool. I really like that. So yeah.
Now, can you see where your sources are from? Are you getting a lot of tune in people, or?
I haven't looked that deeply, but it's hard because we've only been doing this. This will be the third episode we upload, and in terms of a podcast, but we've been doing this since December of 2021, right? So I could continuously upload more and more, but that'd be outdated. And we had a lot more fun back then. It is what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to our next story. Actually, we're going back to stablecoins. The one thing that I wanted to talk about specifically is billions of dollars of stablecoin volume is coming in every day, every week. If I say like we just had $1 billion on last Friday, and I think $1 billion on Monday of stable inflows, guys, inflows, people buying and holding stablecoins. Look at the total market cap of DeFi. I'm sorry, of stablecoins now. It's up to 234 billion. Whereas back, a couple of years ago, that had dropped way down here. So we had a moment where you could say there's a little bit more of not actually DeFi summer, because this is right before Luna, right? In May 2022.
Oh, Luna.
But the number I wanted to point out to you guys is this one: 61% USDT dominance. Now, I mentioned that USDT is by far the largest market cap stablecoin out there, USDC lagging behind. But this number for Tether used to be north of 75%. So their dominance on this chart from our friends at DeFi Llama, it's coming down.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens when your favorite bank, your favorite institution comes in and wants to create a stablecoin. In fact, they may even make it so it's available at the bank level to customers. Think about this. Working with Coinbase or some other DeFi entity to have a loan using stablecoins. These things are happening, guys. In fact, they're going to happen before the end of the year because they want the money. They're like,
oh,
yeah.
So we're seeing the stablecoin market cap going up. I wonder if people are just parking or sitting in their stablecoins. I wonder,
Correct.
What's going to be the catalyst to jump into DeFi, to move it out of these stablecoins. That'll be interesting to see. If DeFi summer really comes, I think it will.
Mm-hmm.
There's trends in all these runs, these bull markets right now, and I could see DeFi summer coming, but I wonder what will be the catalyst to kind of go from stable coins to something else. If that ever happens, we'll see.
Well, I think there'll be a couple of things, right? I think if we do get a forced recession, which I haven't talked about, that could definitely be a hyperinflationary catalyst. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago with Chairman Powell. He's reducing. He's not going to have any more rate hikes for the year, right? So QT done. QE is on the way. It's all a matter of when they're going to turn it on to help bring some relief back into the economy. Volatility is really the main thing, right? Ever since November, with the election, there's a lot of people just coming into stable coins, mainly for just a flight to safety. So I think that's another thing that's been a big part of that, to be very honest. But yeah, seeing this number come down and seeing that these stable coins are coming up, specifically with the DAI and USDS relationship, a lot of people moving over to Sky Money, or rather Sky Dollar, because they've changed that branding, although DAI will always be there. But seeing some of these others, like BITL being number 7 now, that is, to me, that's kind of crazy news.
Wow.
All things considering. Speaking about that, so also this weekend, BlackRock and BITL, they have now expanded to Solana as the 7th blockchain available for RWAs. So this is access to anyone who wants to become an issuer. They can follow along and use the BITL tokenized funds. Most of this is with tokenized T-bills and some dollar and cash equivalents. So Solana joins ETH mainnet, and then the other 5, they went to Q3 of last year. So that's Arbitrum, Aptos, Optimism, Avalanche, and Polygon. So yes, you're going to see a lot of action happening on these blockchains with regards to stablecoins. Not only is that good for us as investors, mainly just because you have choice. Obviously, like on Solana, PayPal USD turned into a monster powerhouse. It was really not much of one when it was just on ETH, to be quite honest. Moving over there made it a lot. It was a recognizable brand, I think, because we always called Solana the people's blockchain. I think that was a huge move for them. And we're going to see more of these happening, specifically on Solana. I'm very interested to see where that happens. That's also going to help hopefully increase yields, increase liquidity at major DEXs and lending AMMs. So we'll be able to take loans out against these stable coins and farm yields. And that's the key, because you'll be able to farm yields on these new stable coins at way better rates than you you would at your local bank. So that's probably to me the biggest, the biggest move in my opinion on what's going to happen. So
yeah, I could see that happening. And you know what's interesting? So I went to Africa with the car group, and with a big group of probably around 10 people, and still a lot of those people, they have some, they know a little bit about crypto, but still a lot of people don't know about this type of stuff. So, I mean, there's still so much growth to be had. We're seeing it happen now, but uh, it just can grow so much more. So it's interesting to see. As I always say, what's going to come out of this? What people, when they have that growth trajectory, of course, as well. And I think we're still on the way up. But when it'll actually hit critical mass, what's going to be taking place? That'll be interesting.
Yeah, one thing I also wanted to bring up, and this is also part of what could possibly be a very large explosion, is the Staple Act is now on the floor. I mean, this is the actual draft, but this is going to go to a vote soon, and possibly up to President Trump in the next 60 days. This is from Representatives Brian Steele and French Hill, and this is going to provide an interesting framework for stablecoins moving forward. Probably the biggest glaring omission, and I get it, is that you can't have any yield-bearing or algorithmic stablecoins as part of this framework. So that's going to cause a little bit of a shift in terms of how stablecoins are going to happen. But the fact that it's going to be around. The other thing that I don't think I put up here. Coinbase is now working with the New York Stock Exchange, or rather their head group, Intercontinental Exchange, which is called ICE. It's not the ICE that most people think, but a different ICE. And they're going to be bringing USDC and USYC, which is the tokenized money market fund, into the New York Stock Exchange. So we're going to see a lot of movement here, a lot of stablecoin interest. Add in Solana as the 7th BUIDL blockchain, and not only are we going to have a stablecoin explosion, but most likely an altcoin explosion on top of that, because all of the issuers that are really successful, like Athena, Maker, Tether, Circle, they will have, well, Circle won't, neither will Tether, but there are ways to profit off of that exposure through various other what we call beta plays to the majors. So ENA has a token. There's one for BlackRock specifically with their partnership with Ondo. I mean, there are a variety of altcoins that'll become probably very, very wanted. And of course, any of the 7 blockchains that have a BUIDL fund on it, also probably really good buys as well. And that's the 7 that I named earlier. So I don't know, Ken, what do you think? Is all of this bullish for you on stablecoins? Because we do call stablecoins crypto's killer app.
Oh, 100%. Well, as you're saying this, I'm thinking about Ethereum right now and how, I mean, it's at a low. It still hasn't broken past 2K again. So I wonder how this will affect ETH. A lot of these I'm not sure how that'll affect ETH. I would think that there could be a big boom on Ethereum. Of course, there's other chains as you're saying here, like Solana. Maybe Ethereum won't even really be. Maybe it'll be a L2 or something like that. But we'll see what happens. It's just that my poor ETH right now has just been kind of sidelined for a while. This could potentially prop it up a little bit. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. What's interesting is that it still powers all the infrastructure. So that is what I think of when I think of when I think of ETH. I think of this is still the infrastructure. There are a lot of people bullish on ETH, right? You hear a lot of people just praising ETH, buy ETH, that type of thing. So and most of the major players in the space, including World Liberty, are continuing to buy ETH. Probably not at a rate to continuously move the needle. But we're going to keep seeing ETH still being the fundamentals of a lot of DeFi. And that's not going to change. I mean, even for BitTensor, EVM bridge coming, Cosmos, Canonical Bridge just created. I don't have it in the notes, but they just had their first cross transfer transaction from Cosmos IBC over to Ethereum. Fully documented. You can check it out. It's pretty cool. So interoperability and Ethereum will still be at the center. And it's all just a matter of what can they do to continuously bring more value to ETH.
What's been interesting is I've been doing a lot of interfacing with Base, also Ethereum type chain. So but the core ETH as well. We'll see what happens with that.
You dropping some alpha on me here, Ken?
Base has been sweet. I mean, Base has been awesome. The gas is cheap. Coinbase, my reoccurring buy. I just send my Bitcoin.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about Taoshi for a second.
Oh no. Just Base. Yeah. Coinbase's chain.
Yes.
But it's not pointing back to ETH. I mean, well, somewhat is, but Ethereum still is, Base is a different chain and all that stuff. It's a L2, I think, right? But we'll see what happens. But
it is. I mean, so while you're on holiday, they've made some big moves at Coinbase. Not only are they doing the loans, they're now doing verified LPs called verified pools, and that is based off of it's on Base, but they're using Uniswap, but they're actually probably going to use multiple ETH L2s to expand to. So using Base, using ETH infrastructure in the background, of course, it's going to cost ETH to have to be a thing. So yeah, I fully expect a lot of subsidies, other things like even from wallets that'll come through to make ETH still a valuable thing to hold. Do I believe in the flippening? Yeah. Unfortunately, that timeline has extended a good 15 years.
The flippening. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while. I mean,
I still believe in the flippening.
Yeah. I believed in it before. I'm not sure I believe in it now, but I mean, Bitcoin's here to stay, of course. Bitcoin's the big guy. Bitcoin's the top dog. We'll see if but now ETH is the foundation, Base, Arbitrum, all this stuff, all the bridges, BitTensor's bridge. So we'll see. Ethereum also is the foundation. A lot of things have been built off of it. It was the catalyst for a lot of different things. So we'll see what happens with ETH. It's near and dear to my heart because it's kind of what got me started in programming smart contracts and DeFi. So it's near and dear, but all this other stuff coming out, maybe I won't say it's getting left behind. It's certainly not, but there's still some stuff that needs to be worked on with ETH that has yet to be determined. So we'll see.
Well, we still have a hard fork this year with Pectra. So, we'll see exactly everything that happens, with that. So, oh, that's very nice. Your lips to God's ears, Ken. That's so sweet.
Thank you.
It's part of the foundation. We'll take a quick detour because we do have some more things to talk about today. But I wanted to introduce you guys to one of our newest partners. So exciting for us here to have more partners. Of course, we've been building our network of alliance partners for the last year. And that's been, a big part of what I do with Beacon as head of business development. But today I want to introduce you to our new partner, One Llama. Tired of paying more for car insurance just because someone else crashed? Thanks to our new friends at One Llama, they reward safe drivers. I have a website here. Not punish them. One Llama's mutual coverage model gives you back power and perks when you drive smart. Skip the fine print, keep the coins. If you already start saving on your car insurance, do us a favor, join the herd at onellama.com using our affiliate code here on the screen, join.onellama.com/beacondefi. And you'll start saving every 6 months just for signing up. Met them in East Denver, great group. Again, the code is join.onellama.com/beacondefi, BEACONDEFI. Be one of the first 500 users. That's the goal. You get unbelievable perks just for doing so. And we greatly appreciate the support. And to all of you safe drivers here in DeFi and on-chain, your time is now. We're excited to be the official go-to DeFi education partner of One Llama. And our thanks to One Llama for being a part of our Beacon network of partners here in Web3. Got some more things to announce with that partnership. Got some more partnerships on the way to also announce. So really excited to do that, but just wanted to start with one of these. So if you like ad reads, well, come hit me up. Happy to ad read my way through everything.
You're good at it. You are good at ad reading.
I try. I practice things, and I do a lot of ad reads for Beacon overall. So, but
I want to get my hand at ad reading one time.
You should.
I think I would be good at it, but we'll see. Next time you might have to get me to read an ad.
I might have to do that. So, Ken, I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about what you do with your BTC and DeFi. Do you do anything with your BTC and DeFi?
That's something I'm currently exploring. Currently, what I like is Coinbase BTC. So,
CBBTC, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just currently stacking that right now and seeing what I'm gonna do with it. But it's quick. It's just sitting there. I kind of want to earn on it. I should, but don't want to get burned. So I'm being very careful. That's what I was saying. Meme coins, kind of, I'm deep in this crypto thing, but meme coins kind of they slapped me in the face a little bit. I was in the trenches. I was really fighting for my life. So I'm just playing it really safe.
You just have to stick with me, man. I'll help educate you on all the things. We have a big guide. We've already had one masterclass in our for our accelerator members, as well as our mastermind members on BTC Fi. That was last, I believe, December, and a lot of things have actually changed. Yeah. At ETH Denver, I met a bunch of BTC Fi groups. Before the main event started, because obviously it's ETH Denver, it's an ETH event, but there's a huge Bitcoin set of events there. So that really great to meet all those people. I'm really excited to talk about, what's happening with the future. If you're normally doing BTC investing in DeFi, you really do only have two options. One's that CBBTC option you mentioned, which if you're on Coinbase, if you withdraw your BTC to Base, which is free, and also ETH mainnet, it gets automatically converted into CBBTC. So that is their derivative. WBTC, which is still the market leader from Bit Global, is now an omni-fungible token from Layer 0. So you can actually send that puppy anywhere. That Layer 0 is supported to start, getting yields on that. But outside of that, liquid staking has really been the story, in my opinion, for the last year about Bitcoin. And you have derivatives such as like Corn, Pump, Solve, Lorenzo, Lombard. I could keep naming many. But they all are pointing towards one specific platform, and that is Babylon. And Babylon actually had a huge announcement. Now, yesterday, I let the community know, April Fools, do not believe anything that you hear out there. But there's a lot of real news that came out yesterday. And Babylon's announcement was one of them. They now have the Babylon Genesis, which is their announcement that they're creating a Bitcoin secured layer 1. Now, the way that Babylon works, for anybody who's unfamiliar with Babylon, you go to a liquid staking provider, the ones I just mentioned, like Pump or Solve, Corn, Lombard, Lorenzo, those places, and they're all basically staking with Babylon. What Babylon does is they actually sell proof of work Bitcoin layer 1 security to layer 2s who are looking for it. So security as a service, SaaS, is an interesting way to look at it. And it's actually worked really well. You actually earn, it's not a ton, but I want to say it's between 3 and 9% overall for LSTs.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine, right? It's not bad.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's just as good as if you're on Stacks with your Lether or X First wallet and doing it through layer 2 stacks with their stacking procedures. That's also an option. And we'll talk about that on a future show. But essentially what they're doing is they're creating now a layer 1 built off of those properties. So the L1 is secured by Bitcoin staking, continuing what they're doing with Babylon. You're going to have that there with the security. The one that's interesting is the liquidity hub. And I need to actually put this blog in the show notes. But the ability to have an actual liquidity hub where you can actually take your staked or liquid staked BTC through various, because the other thing too about Babylon is that they are chain agnostic. So they're having their own platform. All blockchains should be specifically compatible with what they're doing here through the liquid staking providers. And as you can see, a very large, and for people who are seeing this for the first time, it's a large group. It's a larger group than I even thought. And there are multiple other L2s that are out there, EVM based, that are going to be contributing to a lot of this. So it was just announced Monday, so haven't done a full deep dive into this, but being able to have not just the security layer for Babylon, but now a liquidity layer that's chain agnostic is going to be very interesting, because essentially I think what's going to happen is you're going to be staking some of your LST into a liquidity pool, and that's being farmed for a majority of other services somewhere else, and you just earn the yield off of those ventures. So any thoughts on this, Ken, before I move on?
I'm not too familiar with this, but I'm gonna have to pick your brain on this because yeah, my Bitcoin's kind of just sitting there.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just sitting there. I would like to earn something on it, and with Anchor, got burned on that as well. So it's like some of these things, I'm a little bit more comfortable if the yield is lower, just because I think it's more secure. So
yeah, less Jads and Degens going in there trying to.
Yes, 100%.
I get it.
I'll have to pick your brain on this just to see what I could do with my Bitcoin. But
I just don't know why they say this yesterday. Say this today, because no one's gonna be like, "Oh, this isn't real." Bitcoin and
I
DeFi.
do not like April Fools.
You are fooling me.
I'm too gullible for April Fools, so I get excited, and then I hear that it's a joke, and then I get sad. So
yeah, great question, Kelly. Specifically, any security risks with Babylon? So it is you're basically using liquid stakers. So the only real issue that you can have is if something happens to the liquid staking provider themselves. This actually happened I want to say 3 months ago with Bedrock. They have Uni BTC as well as Uni ETH and another thing. They actually got exploited. Now, because it only affected that token, it didn't affect anything happening to the funds because they're secured, on the Babylon stack. They just went ahead and just reissued a new LST and sent it to all of the users that had it already staked. Because again, liquid staking, it's just a composable way to take any token that you're staking in some sort of security or validator consensus atmosphere, ecosystem, I guess would be the right word, right? Same thing with like ST-ETH from Lido. Normally it's because you want to be able to yield off of your existing ETH that you're staking with a validator. Well, that's what Lido's done, right? They have a liquid staking system where, yes, here is your marker token for having your ETH in our group of validators. You can take ST-ETH and now you can wrap it, and then it'll come to you wrapped, and then you can go to a pool on Curve, a pool on Beefy, a pool on Uniswap, and continue to earn additional yield on top of that. So that's very similar to how the BTC LST service works from Babylon. And again, they're using that because the proof of work security model for layer 1 is really tight. So they're really selling that. They're selling that service to layer 2s that really just would rather have better security and consensus. And it's chain agnostic, so it can happen with any chain really that wants to use it. It's very similar to how Eigenlayer works with their AVSs. You just have more modular ways of dealing with security and consensus through their AVSs. This is the exact same thing, not the exact same, but a very similar concept with how blockchains can specifically outsource their security. They can outsource their data aggregation layer, through Eigenlayer, through Celestia, through other things that are out there. So ultimately, for you as a user, this is stuff you're never going to have to worry about, honestly, unless you're really specifically looking for infrastructure-based yield, because all of this will be abstracted from you layers and layers away in the future, to the point where with interoperability, right, Ken, it just works. Yeah. You're not going to, it doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah, you won't even know. Yeah,
won't even 100%. Know what chain you're on. It'll just, that's the end game, right? You're just going to have apps, and apps are going to be able to do all these things with other apps, and you're not going to know exactly what the what the experience is underneath, which is great for all of us that are OGs, because frankly we We're tired of having to go between blockchains. It's all just one thing in the future, which will be great. And that,
You might have highlighted this on a previous episode, maybe when I was in Africa, but have you seen Wayfinder before? Have you?
Yes. I haven't talked about Wayfinder.
Okay. It's interesting. I mean, AI agents between assets, whatnot. I've seen a little bit on it. I'm not 100% familiar with it, so I was curious if you've heard anything on it. But yeah, Wayfinder seems pretty interesting. Hence, what you were talking about previously with not really needing to want to dig deeper and like bridging things. It should be able to do it all for you through an AI agent. So we'll see what Wayfinder.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because we have Wayfinder, we have other technologies like Hyperlane. There's all kinds of stuff that's out there that we don't really talk about because it's really deep in the infrastructure weeds, and most people will be like, "All right, that's boring. Tell me more. Tell me more about something that I should be caring about." But yeah, this is for those of you who have been with us for a while. Bitcoin is a very difficult asset to deal with in DeFi because it's always going to be a derivative, right? It's not an ERC20, it's not an SPL, it's not a, it's not a CW20 type token. I'm talking about Cosmos, but so it's hard to really get a native version of that in there with yield, which is why something like Thorchain was such a huge thing, right? You can use native Bitcoin there, but of course you're actually also having to deal with their native token Rune, which is the bridging part of how all that works. So yeah, this is a good way to get as close as possible to layer 1 Bitcoin as possible. The others, and we'll have them on. We have multiple guests that I met at Denver that want to be on the show soon that we can talk about certain new things that are happening. There's Bitcoin layer 1 meta dexes now. It's kind of crazy, Ken, how all of it just works now. There's like full infrastructure being built on top of layer 1 blockchains that are like meta protocols. I can't even, it's going to blow your mind how it all kind of works. But this stuff is being built, and it's being built quickly. So
I don't even know how you stay up to date. Goodness, you have an AI agent going out there just reading all the stuff and sending you information. Goodness gracious.
No, but
as Kelly said,
yeah,
there's so much to keep up with in crypto. It really helps to be a part of Beacon, and 100%. There's just so much stuff going on. I mean, this space is, it's a lot.
What I will say is I have an unbelievable support staff and a very frustrated wife. So I got to give props to, of course, to my team for helping aggregate a lot of things. We built a lot of aggregation, stuff that's all great for our mastermind members. We've got more stuff actually for our mastermind members being built. I'm really excited to talk about in the next couple of months. But yeah, it's all about having all that value and all of that alpha at your fingertips, because ultimately the hardest part about all this, and you just mentioned it, doing this alone sucks. Imagine having to know all of that, up front, and just understanding how it all works. It's so hard. And if you've got a career, if you've got a family, it's tough. So what I normally tell people, and this is just me just being very honest, find friends because you can't do it alone. Find people just to look at certain things and just aggregate what you find. You can of course do this with any friends that you want, but of course if you want a full community behind you, of course join us at that Total Value Locked. The one thing I also want to talk about, another big narrative that's part of 2025 besides RWAs and possibly DePIN, which is decentralized physical infrastructure networks, along with AI, is DeSci, decentralized science. Bio protocol. We've talked about them in the past. January 13th, I believe, is when they went live on ETH mainnet. They have multiple DAOs as part of their really just they're raising funds to try and fund research. That's all that it is. It's like, why go through the red tape and bureaucracy of going through the public when you can just do it in decentralized finance and not have those issues? And that's essentially what they've done here at Bio. They have multiple DAOs. This is listed on Binance as well for multiple.
Wow.
Yeah, as you can see, the chains that are on here now, they've just expanded as of yesterday to Solana as well as Base. So that's huge. So if you want to buy some Bio, and I think you can stake that and earn some of the anything that happens through their DAO raises. I think that's something you can do, that will be something you can do. But yeah, they have a lot of things. I originally laughed when I saw Hair DAO, mainly because that's why I'm wearing a hat. I mean, $26 for every Hair DAO token.
Wild.
Come on, man! Look at these greens.
Wow.
So
longevity, women's health, brain longevity.
Cryo down, it's a very real feeling. Because one thing I will tell you about, working with and being around a lot of unbelievably wealthy people is that they are scared of dying. So anything that they can do to extend their life and take advantage of all of this wealth they've been printing, whoo, man. That's a whole episode in itself. We could do a whole product review on things that I know people have bought.
Brian Johnson, the guy who's trying to.
Brian Johnson, there you go.
On Africa, we have a guy who follows him religiously, and the guy looks very young.
He looks phenomenal, right?
Yeah, he looks great. So I might need to get on the Brian Johnson routine. I know he sells vitamins and whatnot. So
yeah, he sells supplements, of course.
The cool thing, I mean, blockchain is just spread and decentralization. We knew that this tech was going to be huge, and you can apply it to different sectors, and we're seeing it here. DeFi, AI. It's just there's so many use cases for blockchain and decentralization.
Yeah, and you can buy these coins, by the way, guys. They're available on Base and Solana and ETH mainnet. So that's the part that's interesting. So again, think about it what you want. Some people say this is just really fancy meme coin generation. Yeah, you're not wrong. But there is utility here because they are going towards things. So there's that, right? Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to bring up with you because, both you and I are in IT. So did you hear about 23andMe while you were out in Africa?
I did, but I didn't have internet to be able to. So I heard about it and I tried to delete my stuff. My wife was able to do it, but I was not able to. I think it's still out there. I need to delete.
Oh, maybe no.
Oh, no. They got me.
Therein lies the dilemma, right? Because they filed for bankruptcy. Yeah. And now you're like, well, they can just sell your information to the highest bidder, right? Because whoever buys 23andMe, guess what? They bought all of their assets under 23andMe, which is your data. Enter the white knight of Say Blockchain. So, Say Blockchain has bid to buy the assets of 23andMe. Bless you, Say Blockchain. Mike McCoy and the team there, who I've talked to previously, I'm really hoping you win, honestly, because they believe that data sovereignty, Web3, DeFi, all of the stuff we believe in with self-custody, it's a matter of national security. Facts, 100%. Now, because why they went for bank, they could have sold to somebody, honestly, that would have been interested in this if they're just talking about selling. But now they're in bankruptcy courts. I mean, obviously, probably assets are a lot cheaper, but personal genomic data of billions become vulnerable to parties that may not share the same values of transparency and open access. So here's the thing that they're going to do. They're going to deploy 23andMe on the Say blockchain, one of the very quickest and most performant blockchains out there with high TPS, and they're going to make it decentralized.
Wow. That's cool.
So
that's really cool.
You might be able to own your data after all, Ken.
Yeah, so I might not be cloned. I could.
You might not be.
Well, if I choose to, I could do it myself. But interesting. Okay, that's a cool use case for this. Really cool use case. We'll see what comes out of this, but I think it's awesome. Decentralized DNA type stuff, whatever you want to call this. Of course, 23andMe had it all, and I was rushing to get my data deleted, but maybe Say we'll be able to get this data.
Yeah, get it done, guys. There's another product called Genomics. I want to say it's genomics.io that I've talked about on the show as well before. That is probably not it. Let's not go there. Anyway, it was a project on it was a project on Base, and they specifically were doing something like this to have decentralized genomic data. And, much like 23andMe, they have at-home genetic tests that you send in. They also had a product very similar. Whether or not they're still in business, I don't know. But this, because about 6-7 months ago, they talked about them. But, this is it. People have a curiosity to know where they come from, right? So I think that's honestly the number one issue. The number two issue is trying to figure out any medical issues that you may have genetically passed down to you. That's another reason why people use 23andMe. So hopefully Say can get it done. That's what we want to see.
I was like you said, I was very interested in seeing where I'm a bit of a mutt myself, so I was interested in seeing where I came from and whatnot. So I got my whole family 23andMe, all 5 of us.
Oh no,
all of us. So I think, and my extended family, so we're all on it. But come on, Say, pull through. I believe in you.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I'm. What's funny is you mentioned how do I stay on top of all this news in DeFi? It comes at the expense of not being informed on anything else. So when stuff like this happens, I of course have no way to. Well, I haven't. I'm way behind. I don't watch movies in movie theaters or anything. I'm literally just. I live and breathe this stuff, and I have ever since 2020. So,
kudos to you, man. It's a lot. It's hard work, but it shows in your discussions, your commentary on this.
Thank you, sir.
It definitely shows your hard work.
I appreciate that, man. What's funny is that I was talking to somebody in my DMs today. They're like, "Yeah, we're looking for people who can educate on all of our partners' networks and their technologies." I'm like, I can do that. Most likely.
Sure can.
I most likely can. I've seen and heard just about everything in the space. So,
we'll
job.
See. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
So, come back and profit off the fruits of my labor and our team's labor. Join us absolutely free. School.com/Beacon. Like I mentioned, absolutely free. And learn from the best and the best in the business, guys. Our goal is to make DeFi accessible to everybody. Everybody should have a chance to figure out how this works, and you can learn and be educated and be prepared, because we're seeing people get drained off of things, like off of something we saw with a Cloudflare checkbox, which has been faked. AI can actually clone full websites now with no issues. So be careful out there, guys. Have good operational security, be safe, be vigilant, and learn all of that, of course, with our group here. Absolutely free, school.com/Beacon. Thanks again here to Ken for joining us on the call. Regular rotation member. Happy to have you. Dude, your presence was missed, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, a
little bit of a hole in the show.
Well. Yeah, well, I missed seeing Women's Healthy Ways. Kelly, missed everyone. Even having my mother-in-law pop in the chat.
Yes, that's right.
Take on her to this day about it. She's like, sorry, kid. I'm like, no, it's totally fine. So we welcome all. So
we're an inclusive community, guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, stay safe out there. If you don't have a good supply of powder right now, just going into stables with all of this volatility, I would probably recommend that you do, of course, learn all about our all-weather portfolio and how we like to, keep your risk separated and all that. Just practice good practices. We're going to be in for a very interesting week, and I think we're in for a really awesome next 3 months. Q2 is just going to rock and roll, in my opinion. So keep some powder on the sidelines so you have the ability to participate in some of these new activities, signing up. We're actually going to talk about quite a few of those today on our market making liquidity call, which happens at the top of the next hour. So really excited to talk about some of the new things that are coming out, and lots of points and lots of yields available this week, and obviously for the next couple weeks and months as well. So a lot of great news today. Really happy to have you join us today. Again, thanks again, Ken. Thanks again to all of our listeners. Thanks to our podcast listeners. If you're listening to us for the first time, please, again, feel free to join us, school.com, SKOOL.com/Beacon. Join our free group. And we have a really great show next week. We're actually I'm looking to still, we're almost got the panel filled up, but we're going to be talking about people who are disruptors in their industries using blockchain tech. One Llama will be on the will be on the panel next week. And I'm looking to talk to people. So if you know anybody out there that is an entrepreneur and they're using blockchain tech in a non-traditional way to help disrupt that, like with what Llama is doing with car insurance, please let me know. Would love to have them on the show. Love to feature them. We're a big fan of knowing that blockchain's the future, and we want to be, we want to be part of that conversation, helping educate the world. So we'll see you next week. We're here every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's UTC -4 for any of our international listeners. And we'll be back with a brand new panel next week talking about disruption DeFi, using DeFi. I'm really excited to do so. Till then, take care, guys. As we say here, 07, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.